Welcome to another edition of Transparency in Government. I'm glad that you've joined us again. And as you know, we've expanded our coverage, and we're now including the school district. And I'm happy to tell you that we didn't scare the superintendent off last month. He came back again, and he brought maybe that's some help. Was that it? Why? No, he does not need a helper. So today we have Nate Greenberg again with us, and your title is Assistant Superintendent.
That's correct.
And this is Scott Laliberte.
Correct.
Okay, we want to make sure we got that right. We've got a number of things to talk about, so why don't we just get right into it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you have a starting point you'd like to?
We'll leave it up to you, Dottie.
Leave it up to me. Then I have to put my glasses on and see what my notes say. So let's go to the Hall of Fame. I like that one. That's such a positive thing, and I'm really excited about it.
We are too. And what I think is really exciting about the Hall of Fame is that, in a sense, it was resurrected by our students on the Athletic Leadership Council. And they, along with their teacher advisors, have reviewed it, came up with a plan, made a presentation to the school board, which was absolutely excellent, received unanimous approval by the school board. And we'll be inducting a new class for the first time in 20 years this fall. And at the last school board meeting, Bob Stinson showed up.
Oh.
And Bob came to express his support. And I believe Bob was one of the people that was on the committee.
I think he was. And for anybody who doesn't know Bob, he's been very active in the Lions for a very long time, and just a wonderful community member to all of us.
And he was kind enough to bring one of the packets that they had for the Hall of Fame.
I'm surprised I didn't have one of those somewhere.
Yeah, and going way back. Yeah. And lo and behold, one of the names, which you would probably find very familiar since you just spoke to him, was Kevin Smith. Kevin was a member of the committee. And it's interesting, that year he also got selected for the Hall of Fame, which is interesting. But we won't.
That did happen a few times, yeah.
But we're really excited about it. And what I think everybody should know is it's not just for athletics. It's going to be for students or alumni or community members who have made a contribution to the school in one form or another.
Gone out there into the world and brought fame back to Londonderry.
Right. So it's going to be an eclectic group, if you want to call it that. And so we think it's just a fantastic thing, and we're really excited about it. And
it's great.
Just, you know, another thing, affirming a positive culture at the high school and the district as a whole.
Yeah, and as I was saying to Nate, I know that our former principal, Ed Thibodeau, who was there from the beginning of the high school, who actually was very active in getting that started in the first place, is just dancing that it's come back. I'm sure he's extremely happy about that.
I bet.
So he liked to do things that were positive for the kids especially.
Yeah,
kids especially.
Speaking of positive stuff,
Yes.
remember last time I was here, we talked about our high school graduating class.
Yes.
And the class of 2016 had the highest college acceptance rate of any class that we've ever had.
Wow.
The acceptance rate, 94% of our students were accepted to either a 2 or a 4-year school. And we're actually, if you use the number of students that graduated, 4 students away from our 2020 goal, which was 95% of our students being accepted to colleges.
Well, we might have to raise that goal, give you a little
We may
challenge.
have to, absolutely. Yeah. So we're really excited, and as Jay Parent, high school principal, noted at graduation, it's just been an outstanding class of students, not only academically, but also giving back to the community. Athletically, they've done a great job. There's been a whole host of things. So they're well-rounded kids that have graduated, and we anticipate they're going to be future Hall of Famers, if you will.
Absolutely, I'm sure they will be. I'm sure they will be. It amazes me to see the kids in the high school, not just the graduates, but the other ones, and they're so incredibly poised when it comes to presenting, you know, what they feel strongly about and what's important to them. That is so important. The communication's going forward, because they won't all be technical. Let's move over to Scott. Is that a segue?
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, let's talk about technology. Now, I understand that one of the things you're going to be doing, Scott, is working with teachers.
Yes, we've actually, we've got two major projects going on at this point involving professional development and some of the work that we do with curriculum development this summer.
Okay.
One of the things that's kind of exciting is that we are getting to a point now where technology is developed to a point where they're creating some very interesting tools that we
Yes.
can use to really enhance the learning environment for our students. Example would be we use College Board acceptance, obviously for acceptance purposes, but we use it on our end for curriculum as well.
Okay.
So the College Board has come out with a new disaggregation tool that actually allows us to take the results of something like the PSAT 8s, and we can look at it from the teacher's side and identify the strengths and weaknesses of the curriculum
Okay.
as far as the students' results go. And we might learn, whereas historically you might just have a reading level. So a student might be reading at an 8th grade
But
level.
you don't know what that specific issue might have been?
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So we're getting to a point now where this tool allows us to look at sub-skills. So you can look at someone's vocabulary level, the rate at which they read, their comprehension on fiction versus nonfiction. So these are tools that give us sort of big picture data where we're not really looking at specific students in this instance.
Right.
We're looking at the trends and sort of doing a check on our own instructional progress so that we can identify some of our areas that could be
That sounds
improved.
terrific.
Yeah.
Teachers must be really excited about that.
They are, because for years we've tried to use data in this way, but particularly for those of us who have been in the profession for a number of years, you can remember back to a day where you might get a spreadsheet, you might get a grade book, you'd get this sort of pile of paper that had this data on it.
But
and it was
what
up to
did it
you.
mean?
Yeah, it's a big pile of data. So you had to really comb through it manually, look for those patterns yourself, which is pretty time consuming.
Yes.
And what it does is it takes away from the time that teachers can use to design more effective means of teaching.
Right.
So it's a really neat tool. Yeah.
And to those people who have that phobia of teaching to the test, okay, the parents don't want us doing that, and I have always disagreed with that as well.
Yeah, right.
That's not what this would do.
Not at all.
This would
Not at
just
all.
help you recognize those weaknesses, for lack of a better word, and address them, but you're not addressing anything that specific that would be called teaching to the test.
We're really focusing on information that we've already gathered.
Yep,
So
yep.
we're not going out and trying to add on
Right.
a lot more.
Yeah.
We're looking at information that we already have in a new way.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
does.
It's
I
exciting.
like that. Yeah. Now, sticking with the technology thing here, website. You're going to be doing some things with the website?
We are. We're right in the middle of a beta test right now of something that is called a content management system, which is a
Okay.
little bit more elaborate website. And it's kind of neat because what it allows us to do is bring together a lot of the different tools that we have that we're already using, such as Twitter or some of the other social media, and bring them
Are you
together.
tweeting?
Yes.
Wow.
He's a habitual.
I have over
Twitter.
1,000 followers.
You do? Wow.
A number of them are students who want to know when we're having a snow day, but that's beside the point.
As long as they're articulate about it, because they only have a few words.
Right.
Right. So what we're trying to do, another one of the advantages of the new website will be that, excuse me, it's adaptive to different devices.
Okay.
So it literally, the way that it is written, if you were to call it up on your phone, it'll change the format of the
So
website
it'll
so it
fit
fits
my
the screen.
phone.
So you're not turning the phone sideways and trying to
Yeah.
blow it up.
I try to
that
look
kind of
around the
thing.
corner.
Right. But it's technology that really is available to us now.
Okay.
Our administrators and teachers can update it on a daily basis. You don't have to enter the information into code. There are the interfaces where, if I wanted to go on my page and post something new every week, it would be very
You can
easy
do
to
that.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So
So we're pretty excited about it.
Streamlining that process, and on the other end, making it easier for people to use it
Right.
and see what's on there. That's great.
Much more
Okay.
user-friendly,
Yeah.
easier to find things. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I
Scott,
like
do you
that.
want to talk about the Wi-Fi?
Oh, Wi-Fi.
That's another thing that we have been working on. As you'll remember, back in March, the voters were kind enough to support the warrant article
Yep.
for us to do
Yep.
upgrades in our Wi-Fi infrastructure. What we found was that between bring your own device and students bringing things in and us having more and more devices and more content online, the existing network that we had couldn't handle the capacity.
Okay.
And the bottleneck wasn't so much in the bandwidth, but it was in the access points. Because a lot of the access points that we had were still residential grade access points.
Okay.
So with the proceeds from the warrant article, what we're working on this summer is we're actually upgrading a lot of those access points to much higher capacity and much faster access points.
Yeah.
It would be more of a commercial grade type of access point. So we're very excited that we expect probably by early August we'll be at a point where we're going to be ready to roll a lot of that out.
Terrific.
Our goal is when our students come back, they notice a great big difference as far
yeah.
as web access
Yeah.
goes.
Now, an aside question here. Is this going to generate a need for another policy of some kind for kids accessing Wi-Fi? Under what circumstances, or is everything all set?
Oh,
No-
we're
nothing to worry
all
about?
set.
Okay.
Everybody, all students and faculty, as a matter of fact, or all employees, sign an acceptable use policy.
Okay.
So,
And I've seen that policy.
yeah, and so that's not an issue for us.
Good,
As
okay.
Scott had mentioned, what's going to happen is it's going to give us greater opportunities for our students to connect, not wind up getting bumped off the network,
yeah.
and continue. And one of the things that Scott can talk to you about too is the iReady program that we're putting in place that we piloted this year, and he's been
iReady?
heading. Yeah.
It's actually it's a combination of an assessment and instruction system. It would take the place, the way I've sort of been explaining it to people, it almost takes the place of things like workbook activities and quizzes and things that teachers do
Okay, yeah,
day to day. There are classroom-based assessments that teachers use, and we're going to use it this coming year in grades 2 through 7
Okay.
extensively, where the 1st and 8th grade teachers sort of coming on board in the next year or two as we learn more about it. But in essence, what it does is it's classroom based. It's an internet-based, web-based program.
Okay.
Students complete activities. They do different lessons, and at time being they'll take a quiz online. And what it does is, as students complete work, it compiles again that skill, sub-skill
Yeah,
level
yeah.
data. The teacher actually has a dashboard on their end of things where they can look at information almost day to day from teachers. So for example, if I'm a teacher and I'm going to do an activity that requires students to have an advanced vocabulary level, I can just go on and I can look at what my groups should be. Because if I'm doing a nonfiction reading exercise and their nonfiction reading vocabulary might be low, I might be able to take 3 or 4 of those students, make them a group so that I can give them some additional
extra
support.
help,
And as we're saying
Yeah.
to our teachers, the other nice part of that is you can also find out those students who might not be challenged and need some extra challenge
yeah,
and need to
yeah,
push. We
yeah,
need to push them a little harder.
Sometimes we do forget to do that, don't we?
It's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
We're
get so
truly.
busy taking care of other kids that,
Yeah. We feel like with some of the tools that we have in place right now, we can really challenge everybody on the full spectrum
that sounds
of
great.
abilities. So,
That sounds great.
yeah, it's a neat tool. We piloted it last year, had some great results, and
this
we're
is
doing a
all
lot of teacher
very
training.
exciting.
Yeah, a lot going on.
And I'm sure the teachers are all really excited about all of this too.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
so we've had great
Yeah.
feedback. They're very excited.
Terrific. Okay.
Yeah, Scott has
Scott
done.
definitely has a technology background here.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
without a doubt. And
I was guessing.
yeah, and Scott has done a great job with the teachers and leadership of all these programs, and teachers have bought into it. In fact, Scott and several of our teachers, along with myself, were recently up in Concord talking to members from the DOE and other school districts about the
About what you're
iReady,
doing here?
yeah, about the
Yeah.
iReady program
Yep.
and the whole bit. So,
We kind of, Londonderry is pretty good at setting the tone.
yeah.
You know, both on the school side and on the town side. I find a
Absolutely.
lot of
Right.
times people are asking, well, how are you doing it in Londonderry? So that's really good. Okay, we talked about that. I just have to check my list here because I can't see it without my glasses. We had lots of, the retirees.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, wow. Is there anybody left?
We've got 2 people.
You and Scott,
Me
right?
and Scott. and your kindergarten kid's in for a rough time. Yes, we had 27 retirees this year, ranging from teachers to administrative assistants to grounds people that represented over 600 years of service to the Londonderry community. Outstanding people who have given back to the community, have had a significant impact on the children in our school district, and they are partly responsible for this 94% college
Of course they are, yeah.
acceptance rate. So we were very sorry to see them go, but very happy for them as they enter retirement. And they've, a number of them have very exciting plans. A number are taking a more important job, being grandma.
It's the best job
right?
ever.
There you go. And so we're sorry to see them go, but it's all part of the natural order of things. Right now, we're in the process of hiring people, and we've got a good group of people coming in that I think are going to provide outstanding service to our kids at all of grade levels. So we're looking forward to working with them when school opens up in August, and but we're going to miss them. A lot of good people, and you know, people that I've had an opportunity to know and learn about and become friends with in a sense over the last 16 plus years.
Yeah.
So we're going to miss them.
We've always had some great people. What is the pool of teachers out there at this point in time? I know we've had in the past, we've had shortages in one area or another. And
yeah, elementary we're okay. But traditionally, where you find shortages are at the secondary level,
specialized areas.
Yeah, in science and mathematics, becomes difficult. Certain areas of special education are difficult. We lost through retirement a couple of our speech and language people, so those are difficult positions to fill. Social studies, English, there's a good pool of candidates. Science and mathematics.
Science and math seems to have always been a problem. Well, not always, but for a very long time.
Yeah, and there are not that many students graduating, for instance, from UNH with a degree in math education. So the competition is stiff for that. Some of the foreign languages are difficult to find too. You know, we offer German. We're fortunate we were able to. One of Frau Trammell retired this year. And we were fortunate that we were able to find somebody that could speak German. So you got German, Latin is also a tough area to find.
My daughter was actually, she loved Latin and was in the Latin Honor Society.
Oh my gosh.
The year after she graduated, I believe it was, they were going to eliminate Latin. I didn't feel they had enough students to continue it. And she went before the school board and was one of the former students that argued in favor of keeping it and be able to show the value that it had after she graduated. I know. I mean, I didn't even do well in Latin, and it still helps me.
Yeah.
I still every once in a while look at a word and go, oh yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely. And Flora Sapson, who's our longtime Latin teacher, is absolutely
she was
outstanding.
Cindy's teacher.
Huh?
She was my daughter's teacher.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Super. And she gets kids every year. So
absolutely.
It's a viable program. Many kids take it as their second language. And they always do extremely well. And I think a good reason is Mrs. Sapson. And she's out just
absolutely.
And she's an icon up at the high school.
Yeah.
You know?
When they inducted my daughter into the Honor Society, I gave her a gift. It was Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh in Latin.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I know E pluribus unum, and that's about it.
Well, I'm so pleased that you're able to find good teachers to replace all of these wonderful people that are leaving, because as you said, they definitely contributed to that rate of college acceptance.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it starts so young.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And along those lines, I think as we look ahead to next year and the year after that and year after that, as we had mentioned last time, we're going to start to see an uptick in enrollment, so we'll be looking to hire additional staff members, teachers to provide instruction for our kids. So
now that's a hard thing for the public to understand sometimes, is how the enrollment is affecting the teacher population, because you can't just say, well, we got 30 new students, so we only need one teacher.
Correct.
Right.
And you can just explain a little bit about how that works.
Absolutely. Well, it all depends on what grade levels the kids come in at. So let me just give you a real simple example. Let's say you start out with 100 kids in second grade. And you may have, just for the sake of argument, because we try to get class sizes small in this, roughly 25, or five, why don't we say 5 classes with 20 kids each, right? Then all of a sudden, if you talk about the 30 kids, you may have, as happened at South School several years ago, the vast majority of them come into second grade. So what we then have to do is get 1 or perhaps 2 more teachers. Whereas if those 30 students were spread out across the grade levels,
or the district,
we wouldn't have that issue. So the key for us as we go forward is what students are coming in at what grade levels, and whether or not that's going to impact staffing. So right now what we're seeing from the new developments are a lot of primary age children, grades 1, 2, kindergarten, grade 3. So depending on what school they come into, right? In this case it's north, because most of the development
down there right now
is up at the north end of town where we both live. And so that's one thing. And then what happens in as far as what grade level they come into. So for instance, I could say, let's say, just for the sake of argument, another 15, 20 kids at North School with no issue whatsoever if they came in at the right grade levels. Same number of students come in second grade or third grade, now I'm looking at least 1 more teacher because of the enrollment. What will also be interesting this year as we move ahead is the development that's off of Exit 5, which is going to open in October. So we could wind up with an influx of students after school has started.
Even harder.
Right. So we'll have to work with that.
Scramble.
So we'll have to work with that. And again, the key is going to be what grade levels they come in at. So that's going to be our challenge, I think, over the next couple of years as we move ahead.
I think it's good for people to understand how that process works, because we often oversimplify what we don't understand. Okay, so we'll look at that and go 30 new kids, 1 teacher, no problem.
That's right.
So I think for them to understand the process that you go through is helpful.
No, thank you for asking that question. I appreciate it.
The other thing that very proud of our community on this one is the transgender policy.
Right.
I was so happy to hear that people came out and were positive about this.
Right.
There was not a lot of negativity, and we set a good role model. And I know you have a policy in place now.
Right. Well, we have is guidelines. Which the board has not formally approved at this point. As we discussed last time, we have 2 policies already in place. Anti-discrimination policy and anti-bullying policy, all modeled on federal legislation, Title IX, anti-discrimination, etc. So we felt it was appropriate to develop a set of guidelines, which we did in conjunction with our attorney, etc. And so it was a good discussion at the board meeting. The board hasn't taken formal action yet, and what we're doing is we're getting
developing.
We're still in the process and moving forward. And we just feel as a school district that they're all our children.
Absolutely.
And we want everyone to feel comfortable. We don't want anyone to be harassed. And so as we move forward, our job is going to be to make sure that we have everybody is comfortable, we respect people's privacy, and there is no harassment, and we make appropriate accommodations for all our children.
Can't do better than that.
Yeah, and that's our focus. Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. Glad to hear that. Well, we'll be watching to see how that works out.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll be great.
You bet.
Okay, so we did that and did that. Talk a little bit more about the curriculum development. I know we talked about it in terms of technology and what you're going to pull from that, but
Right.
what kinds of things are we looking at recently?
Well, one of the things, excuse me, that we're really trying to focus on is the progression of our curriculum. We're looking, for example, right now we're looking at elementary school math and trying to
Always
to
a big one,
articulate
isn't
the
it? Yeah.
growth, from K to 5. That's such an important age. Those are those foundational skills, as we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. We don't often think about college and career readiness
Right.
with a
And
kindergartner.
can we start
but-
telling them, you want to be a math teacher, you want to be a math teacher?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a lot of that. Really, the math phobia, if you will, has its
Starts
roots.
way back there.
Yeah, it's second grade. Well, I'm not good at math. We don't want. We want to make sure that our kids develop the skills in a progressive way, so that they can move
Is there any
ahead.
gender issue at
We-
this point, or is that going away, I hope?
A lot of it's going away.
Okay.
You find if you look at some of the research, middle school, that starts to become an issue around 7th grade. We actually have some really neat stuff going on right now. In 7th grade, you do see girls start to step back out of math and science areas. We've been doing some work with integration of STEM activities of science and
Yes.
technology and engineering into the math curriculum.
Okay.
And one of the things that's been really neat, we have a couple of local companies that they have organizations within them that allow their female employees who are involved in
Those kinds of
engineering
things, yeah,
areas
yeah.
to come to our schools and mentor 7th and 8th grade young ladies
Awesome is
who are
that?
interested. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Fidelity
I love it.
Investments is one of the groups. And what they do is they literally will allow their employees to come and mentor young women who are
That's
interested
fantastic.
in
Yeah.
STEM engineering
Yeah,
careers
yeah.
or IT type of careers.
Yeah, because I
So-
know that at the middle school level, a lot of times 7th and 8th grade, it gets to be more of a social issue than a, do I
Yeah.
understand?
That's a tough. That's a tough age.
It's a hard age.
That's a tough age. It's
It really is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're hoping that with some mentoring and like as I said, that stronger foundation in that K-5
Yeah,
area.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you addressing any other particular issues with curriculum?
Well, well, obviously we're still looking at the high school and middle school to high school transition as far as the college board and,
Yeah,
and our work
okay.
around the college, our college ready standards is one of the things we know is an expectation in our community with 94% of our students going on. We want our students to be prepared for that experience. So we're really trying to focus on our curriculum in that middle to high school
Right.
level. So that students, I know a lot of what you read about when you look at some of the challenges kids are having once they get to college is that their skill areas are deficient in certain cases where they have to actually take remedial high
Remedial,
school
yeah.
courses. This is one of our goals is we don't want our kids to have to do that. We want them to
Yeah.
come prepared.
And the town's been addressing that goal very well for a long time.
Long time, yeah.
Long time.
And the work continues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've got that
You
piece.
can't let up, you got to keep it up.
It's one of the
Stay on
things.
top of it.
Yeah, when you work in the curriculum and instructional design area, the work isn't ever done. You really
Right.
have to constantly monitor.
Well, I'm sure the
alignment.
important thing is that you're never isolating yourself. You've got to know what's going on out around you, because that's where you're sending them,
Yeah,
out into the real world.
Absolutely.
that's what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm ready for. And that's another piece that we're finding, even with us doing this work to prepare our students for a college environment, we do have a segment of our population that's going on to the military or going on to employment.
Oh, yeah,
They need the same skills.
they do.
They still have to be able to read and speak effectively. They need foundational math skills. If you look at some of the work that our servicemen and women are doing in the military right now, very technical work.
Absolutely,
They have to
yeah.
have great math skills. So
Yeah.
even though we're focusing on that college, we have that college readiness, we have that segment of the population that we really feel like we're preparing them for
Got
that
to take care of all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bring them all to
Absolutely.
their full potential, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds great. Is science, are there a lot of changes in those curriculums, or is it just sort of like evolving, like it always did?
It's evolving. Obviously, the content, you don't see as much change in the content. What you're seeing a lot more of now.
I mean, people still build volcanoes.
I haven't
For
seen
the
a volcano
science
in a
there.
while. But I will
They
tell
do.
you, one of the things that our science teachers work very hard at now is the application of concept. It's one thing to learn, the inner workings of a system, whether it's a biological system or a physical system. what you're really seeing is kids learn things in a more deep and meaningful way when they can take a concept that they've learned and actually use it to solve a problem. And that's why you see engineering programs
Yes.
in middle school as early now as we have some elementary school students who are doing experiments in engineering exercises because I learned this somewhat complicated scientific concept. Now if I use it, I'll remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just hoping that my granddaughter has somebody else to go to for help.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be lost by the
got
time
it.
she gets there. What else would you gentlemen like to share with the community today? Is there anything that we've missed or?
No, I think we've kind of touched base on most stuff. We've gotten our surveys back from
The senior centers, yes,
from
yeah.
the senior surveys, so we're in the process of collating that data and seeing where we're going to go. We'll be meeting with Catherine, who's the Senior Affairs Director.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at that information.
Who now has her own show, by the way. Did you know that?
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
yes, there's a new show. We'll just give them a plug. The Londonderry View. It's with Kathy Blash from the Senior Center. She's the director. They have Sherry Farrell, who is the town clerk.
Right.
Kirby Wade, who is the assistant to the town manager. Is there a fourth one, Helen? There's 4 people. Helen?
Yes,
I'm forgetting the 4th person on the Londonderry View.
Bonnie.
Oh, yes. Oh, how could I forget Bonnie? Bonnie, yes. Very animated senior from the senior center.
Great.
Yeah, so the 4 of them are doing the Londonderry View, and they
Great.
taped their very first show last night, so we can't wait to watch it. Tune in. That one's going to be on CTV 20, though.
Great.
So we're on 22 and 30. No, I'm sorry, no, we're on 20. We're on 20 and 170 sometimes.
Okay.
Get my numbers mixed up here. So we're just,
We'll be we'll be meeting, we're doing that, and we'll have, our goal is to get some programs and stuff in place for the upcoming year.
yeah.
So we're really excited about that as we move forward. We're also excited about the continuing growth of our dual enrollment courses at the high school, where students can get both high school credit as well as college credit.
Okay, yeah.
And we have over 30 of those at the high school already.
Wow.
And we have 2 of our juniors now are on track to graduate with an associate's degree as well as a high school diploma.
Good Lord.
So we're moving in that direction.
Wow.
And we're really excited about that as we move ahead. Scott talked about the STEM initiatives. We've got a whole host of things going on up and down the school district. And what we're trying to do, and your show is obviously helpful, is to get the word out on what's happening in our schools, what people are in reality getting for their investment in their tax dollars.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's important. And I'm glad you brought up the 94%. I mean, that's the return on the tax
investment,
on the investment,
Yeah.
and it's really important. So we're going to continue along
Yeah.
those lines, continue to grow as a school district, and continue to move ahead. So we're kind of excited. This is an interesting time to be in education, a challenging time, but also a very rewarding time.
And I'm glad you're folding the seniors into this process
Yes.
too, because there's an education that needs to be done at that level.
Yes.
One of the things that I've often heard before I was a senior, now that I am one, I don't know when that happened, but is that people would say, well, the taxes are so high, and why are we paying for kids going to school? I don't have any kids. Like, but you were a kid,
That's right.
okay? You were a kid, somebody paid for you. Now you're a grown-up and you pay for the kid. That's the way it works. And that's how we have to do it. And the better we bring these kids up and the more educated they are, the better educated they are, the better the community and the better the life that we have.
Right.
I just put my hand on my microphone, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that everybody has to keep in mind is not that many years ago there were 30 or 32 people working for every person on Social Security. Now
Yeah.
it's like 2 or 3. So unless I get to pick my own 2 or 3, I want to make sure that that we do as best we can to provide our kids with the best opportunities to have successful careers
Yeah.
and earn some money. So it's in everybody's best interest.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like it's all good.
Okay,
I like it. Can we
Thank
do
you
this again
very
next month?
absolutely.
Okay,
We'll be
that's
happy to
terrific.
do it.
All right.
Thank you,
And Scott,
Dottie.
thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And I wanted to just let you know that Transparency in Government is a show for you. So if you have questions, if there's something that you want us to talk about that we haven't talked about, just give us a call. There's information at the end of the program on how you can get in touch with us. And we'd be more than happy to talk about the issues that are concerning to you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott, for coming. I really appreciate it. And
Thank
Nate,
you,
good to
Dottie.
see you again.
Good to see
All
you.
right.